Hey everybody. I stood around for a while, paced around, talked to myself for hours, and didn't know what I'm going to say. I still don't know what I'm going to say. Guess I'll figure it out. But I wanted to say hey and reach out to those who actually want to hear anything I got to say. I'm proud of my songs. I like them. I chose religion for good reasons. Really from my life history. I sing about what's affected things, what's brought me to where I am now. And I feel healed from it. I want to help other people is why I sing the way I do. And I like to sing in neutral. I feel like it would be an injustice. It'd be an injustice if I went to happy, happy, happy all the time. That leaves people outside of reality, and it can. We have a shadow side, and really, I like to sing from a zero standpoint. The zero probably it's a number with probably the most meaning of anything ever. One individual cannot understand all the meanings and the potential with just zero. So even in music, as I mentioned, I like to give a zero balance type of music because there's always two sides to everything like that. And but with religion, I grew up, some of my first thoughts, asking my father and my preacher, because I heard voices as a child. I went through major childhood trauma, had to survive, couldn't breathe, was hidden away. And during that time period, just a few weeks old and way beyond, during that time period, I experienced dimensions of talking to people. It went away, kind of, and lost my mind due to the distractions of survival mode throughout life. And but songs would pop in just on time and hit my head, and I could hear it like choirs, but think nothing of it. I would joke around when playing cards or something. Hey, there's crowds cheering for me. Yeah. Always been funny. But it was actually, well, in 2020, they really came. They was warning me of things. They were telling me things I could hear. Anyways, I'm not ashamed of that. In fact, those that want to, well, you're schizophrenic, you're lock you away and stuff. I feel sorry for those who don't have this benefit of a universal Wi-Fi. Anyways, other than that, I really haven't had anyone to talk to about any of my things. So I've used YouTube, and YouTube's helped me in many ways. If I was to think who teaches at a root space, what do we actually know? What the heck do we know and what we don't know? There's a few to go to. For me, I gravitated to Morg in his Neogenian way of, trying to make the world a better place for all life. And by raising our consciousness and elevating ourselves to the point where we can make that happen in the future. And it's starting now. So, the things I appreciate about listening to him is he don't cap his belief. He don't have necessarily. He goes with what we know. What do we know from everything, using logic, reason, and so I've learned a lot there. There's a spiritual aspect, but it's a dangerous one because men make gods for themselves. They always have, repeated, and making gods for themselves. So we have to be careful, even worshiping potentially the universe or the what we might think spirit is or isn't. Those where beliefs come in a little bit. My belief's strong a bit in the spiritual side because of my own experiences, synchronicities, whatever these voices are, the the alchemist gave a good root reason. She's super intelligent and an asset to the world to learn from. So is Morg, and so are many others. And actually, I've been listening, didn't practice anything. So Lewis Howes, I think he's here local or nearby anyways. And he has people on his show, like Joe Dispenza, Dr. Joe Dispenza. He, every time I've heard him speak, it exactly resonates to what I've learned within my own body and my own self. So, like many of them, I have a concern for the world. And, when I was a child, I was kept alone just with my family, even hidden from most of my siblings for a little while, until they started exposing my crooked foot and leg and why my mouth was always open. And they'd always say, something's wrong with Bobby. And they're right. Something's always wrong with everybody to an extent. Anyhow, they convinced me how Santa actually comes down our chimneys and puts gifts here, Well, I bought into stuff, I didn't think my family should lie to me. So I bought into it, believed it, and I'm getting pretty old. I think I'm 4 or 5, and they're still selling this thing. And even on the news, on the TV, I saw where Santa's supposed to be. But I realized my then whole world was just lying to me. So hopefully some of us get over when we realize things that like that have happened in a bigger scheme to you still as an adult. Hopefully you'll handle it as well as maybe you did as a kid if you had to do that. And so back to the zero. But back to, I can't do zero. If you take it, let's do like a linear chart over here. You got 0. And let's say this side is, let's go with like either love and hate, negative, positive, whatever. So down here, and for most of us, we have beliefs that are holding us in somewhere. Because not only are we somewhere on the chart, then it's spanning over. And is it hitting an edge? Is it capping? Well, mine always did because of doctrines in a church, and I was obedient, didn't look beyond. So as a child, I think I didn't finish explaining that. I was told that when asked about that, I said, I believe I even told my dad that I heard, see things, hear things. And he said, never empty out your mind. Even my preacher said that. Never let your mind go blank, because something you don't want is going to come in there. So what horrible advice that actually is, because if you actually meditate isn't think of all the stuff going on and go crazy with it and I can't relax. It's to totally try to go blank. Zero. Because from 0 you can still love, you can still hop over and hate if that's your thing. And down here is my chart. So imagine all the scatterings of a person, but if you're predominantly down here and you're hating more things than you love, and that could come from beliefs, limited beliefs and group mentality. But usually it's all scattered. But even if up in the good things, if it's coming from a limited belief that's from a blueprint, like an archetype made up, we're still made from the same source. So there's going to be like a synthetic light, a false light. So anyways, the closer we can stay to this 0, the better balance between love and hate. And what really has to happen, if you were doing inward work, the ones up here on the love side would have to jump down and kill, metaphorically, the hate. And learn to come closer to center balance. So you can take that back to let's take a different line. No longer love hate graph. This is how I want to sing. Back to zero. Because that injustice thing, if I go up the charts, because I got complaints from the only family member I said that would talk, that my music was not happy. I think it is myself. It's so neutral that it depends on who you are hearing it. You hear something you don't like, so anyways, I don't know how long this will be. I got so much to say that I kept on retracting, and I feel like I just pissed the world off. But those who have this, if your belief just caps you, and you're honestly like, that's all I'm going back to your traditional that was given to you. You didn't create it. A couple thousand years back, Constantine and his bishops kind of picked and chose what to put in there and come up with the next massive problem. And so, people shouldn't believe in Santa all the way, as it was taught anyways, all the way till there. It's not good for people. Anyways, what else? Yeah, so with all of that, I've also peeped in, because on the spiritual side of things, in church they'll read scriptures and some preacher will tell something about it. So I checked in, because I never have. I don't know how to read tarot cards and things. Again, it was on the wrong side of things. But again, it's an archetype. Here's an image. What do you think? Well, it's up to you what you think of it, usually, technically. And I've seen it done different ways. And, I found comfort watching that some. I'm not saying I believe everything that I hit and like, but most of it can fit, and I can't disbelieve it, because I know the difference, or I'm learning the difference very well and trying to teach others those differences between what we know and just what we believe. And it's a big difference, and it should be taught precisely that way, so it doesn't make people most out of fear lock into a belief so they can be comfortable and be lazy then and not think no more. Maybe they get out of school or whatever, and they spend the next 30, 40 years just watching Netflix and never advancing in their thought, even though the science, technology, what we've learned, what we've known, what we found, what we've collected, and what we know is way beyond some of the things we knew then. I mean, in the 50s, they were bloodletting. I mean, go to the barber shop and get a thing in your blood, and I got to let some blood out. I'm feeling bad. I mean, so we keep moving along, right? So this source that's creating, I'm looking out a window right now. I stand here because it's got good lighting. And so whatever's creating these seasons, this beautiful flower that pops up out of the ground and turns everything green in the spring, the source that's making all this life in the entire universe, it seems to be loving. It seems to be on the loving side of that chart. It seems so systematic and happening, and it just happens. I think Alan Watts said this planet is peopling. And I believe this source is just a universal source of life, and we're not meant to figure how to worship it in any kind of way, because we are all made of this source. Yeah, you heard it. These bodies are made of the same things that's in this earth, and the same things that's in the whole universe. Hard to understand, but that's where look into it. Listen to people who have studied it. And I don't have all the answers for the world on how to fix it, how it currently is being conducted. But we've got these limits with beliefs that are capping people's abilities, and yet Disney's been telling us through kids' songs, into the unknown. And you can't think in the unknown if you got your doctrine locking you here, you got your group mentality here and here. You're kind of like on ice, you're frozen. You're sure not a zero, you're sure not a blank space. And our thoughts are then limited to some past spot whenever the doctrine got put there or whatever. So anyways, I've enjoyed the other ones that I've peeped in on, and I don't mind even mentioning who you are, but give me a clue if you want that before I ever do. But I think there's a need. I don't have negative things to say about anything I've ever peeped in on like that, because I think there's a need for what everybody seems to be doing in that regard. And what's not there is the solemnity. We don't think beyond this. Oh no. And if we try, I'll get defensive or I'll pluck my head in the sand. Yeah, how about that? That's how it seems to be. Now I have no one else to bounce these things off of. Anyways, I like thinking deep, and some things a little wrong in the world. There's the blockages, the stoppages, the controlling this or that, the gatekeepers, even in the music industry. You take that same chart from my zero gives people balance. Balance in life gives you peace of mind. Peace of mind gives you physical healing. This source that creates life all over everything is able to heal you, able to give you healing. If you do that fight, let the love kill off the hate. So when you're over here, somebody's so loving that I can't come down from happy. If you never come down, you're probably compensating for some of the hate over here that you didn't do your inner work and like, work on this. Come on, back close as you can to zero. Because from zero, less likely to be fooled. Somebody who's stuck so over here in blissful land would be in trouble by an unhealed, angry one. So even when I love to sing, and I like to sing all kinds of songs, and whatever, structured ballads, but I have to learn to make music too, and I'm doing my best. But I like singing, and if I went so far negative, of all the things, if I go so far positive, then I'm doing an injustice so I try to do it for what's appropriate for the title or whatever I'm singing. So I want to do fun things in the future. I like to have fun. Anyways, and the future's still unknown. That's the best way to live. More can happen with an unknown future. I keep looking at my own picture instead of the camera. I'm new to this. I'm new to this stuff. Well, I'll catch you another time. You guys have a good day, and I hope it goes well.